What have I got here on my little table in front of me? Well, what I've got is a collection of domestic appliances. I've got a kettle, a saucepan, another kettle, a stove, a hairdryer, and a vacuum cleaner. And what do they all have in common? Well, they all run on 12 volts. You just plug them into a 12-volt lighter socket and off they go. Now, people often ask me, they say, Andy, should I get a 12-volt this or a 12-volt that? And I say, well, yes, as long as you accept that it is going to run completely differently from a 230-volt. Now, this kettle, running on 12 volts, it uses 160 watts, whereas a 230-volt kettle at home would be using 1600 watts, maybe even 2 kilowatts. So this is about 10 or 12 times less efficient in theory than a domestic kettle. This stove here is an interesting item. It's very popular with truck drivers. You simply put a stew in it, something like that, a curry, when you leave home. Plug it in, and come lunchtime, it's piping hot and ready to eat. We have a hairdryer. Okay, it's not going to dry your hair from wet in the same way that your domestic hairdryer is going to, but it's absolutely better than nothing, particularly if you've got hair that's not much longer than mine. My particular favourite of all these products is the vacuum cleaner. This actually really does work very well indeed. It's partly because it's got a beta bar underneath here. It works very effectively even though it's only using about 160 watts of power. So, as long as you accept that you're not going to get the same performance as you would with an equivalent domestic product, then it's well worth looking at 12-volt products such as these. You can save on gas, you don't have to have an inverter, you don't have to have hookup. Me, I'm going to go and make myself a nice 12-volt cup of tea. I love jelly beans, you know, those American sweets. It's not just the taste, it's the way they look, it's the way they feel in your mouth, and of course the way they smell. My favourite is cherry. So you can imagine I was really excited when I received in the post a whole load of what looked like giant jelly beans. Got blueberry, lemon drop, tangerine, bubblegum, and my very favourite, very cherry. Ooh! So, what does it smell like? Let's have a go. It smells just like the jelly beans that I like to eat. But it's a little on the big side, and no, probably not. I'm just going to stick it in my motorhome instead.